Hi folks, welcome to the channel. I'm Steve and today's video is all about leaving your pets at the kennels. Something I've done a lot over my years of travelling, especially since I've started the channel. I'm going to talk about what to look for, what they ask, and how to make sure your dogs or your pets are safe, happy and comfortable while you're away. And I'm also going to talk about guilt and fears of leaving them and my particular opinion of what your dogs think. And of course, with this being a budget travel channel, I'm going to talk about cost as well. And you might be shocked at what I'm going to say. Right, I'm currently driving about 30 kilometers from my home to the kennel I'm going to drop off my two dogs, Molly and Buster. And I thought I'd use this time to go through everything. And this is a new kennel for them. My previous kennel, which I loved, we're in Spain, and my last kennel I've used maybe 6-7 times since she was great. But unfortunately her and her husband recently retired and sold up. And the people that moved in really hiked the prices up. So I went looking for a new one, and this is the one I've settled on. So first of all, I talked to the owner of the kennel on the phone, and when I was happy enough with that, I went to the kennel about a week ago to check it out, meet the owner and make sure that it was up to my standards, what I want for my dogs. You know, this is obvious for most people, but if you love and want to ensure that your dogs or your cats will be as happy as possible, there's a lot to consider, a lot to think about when choosing a new kennel. And I know leaving your pet behind can be emotional, but trust me, this is just my opinion, of course, as I always say. If you do it right, it's actually harder for you than it is for them. So let's get into it. Number one, how to choose the right kennel. My opinion is that before you leave a dog or a cat at any kennel, first time, you should do your research. Don't just look for the cheapest. Talk about that in a minute. All kennels are definitely not created equal. I'll turn my air conditioning off. And just a little bit of homework can make all the difference. Visit the kennel in person. Pictures online might look okay, might look great, but you can never get a feel for a place without going and seeing it yourself. Walk around, check the cleanliness, the space, and most importantly, trust your gut. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Plenty of other places to go to. Meet the owner. It should have knowledgeable staff who genuinely love dogs. And I know that seems like an obscure sort of thing, hard to tell, but I think you can tell by people's reactions to your pets. And a really important thing is, look at Google reviews. And I only trust Google. I'll explain what I mean in a minute. But you need to check and see what other people's experiences are, obviously. And Google's the best place to do that. And of course, also always take into consideration that there's a particular type of person that will complain a lot. So no matter what Google reviews you're looking at, you'll always get one or two or a few really negatives, but you can get a really good feel by reading plenty of them. Now, what I meant when I'm talking about I always use Google reviews, first of all, I've been dealing with Google for quite a long time in depth for the last few years, mainly to do with my YouTube channel. And before that, I used to, as a sideline, I used to make websites, so I'm really familiar with how it works. Now, when you put a review in Google, you have to have an account, etc., and you sign into Google, and they have a bot, a robot thing, don't know how to explain that, but it's always constantly looking at these reviews and weeding out the ones that are maybe fake, because yeah, maybe people will set up several email accounts so they can put fake reviews about their own place or whatever. But other than that, it's very difficult to have a fake review on Google. Now, did you ever ask yourself why some people have complete disasters with, for example, getting their teeth done in Turkey or getting a boob job somewhere and it turns out to be a real disaster? Well, I'm going to explain a big part of the reason how that happens. When you type into Google, this applies to kennels as well. When you type into Google what you're looking for, it throws you up results. At the top of those results, there's always the first few three are adverts. They're paying to get them up there. They're not organically reaching that point. And within those adverts, there are other websites who promote dental surgeons in in Turkey, for example, and you go onto their sites and they'll be promoting 10 or 20 and it looks great, but that's where the reviews are done. Within that website can be anything, and you have to ask yourself, the companies or the dental places that are advertising in those type of websites, why are they not advertising in Google reviews? And it's very, very obvious. They can't get good Google reviews, and they actually want to get their name off the main Google review. So if someone's in looking for cheap dental work and you go and you read all the proper Google reviews, you're going to get a really good feed for who does a good job at a reasonable price. If you go to one of these other type, these people who pay for their adverts, you will, the vast majority of the time, be getting really, really low quality at a really, really low prices. That's the price you pay. You come back and you've got manky teeth or manky boobs or whatever. Alright, so that's a wee bit of advice. So as I say, that's the same with things like kennels. Make sure you're always checking with Google. I don't use anything else, but I know there's Trustpilot and all, but I don't really understand those or how they work. I don't know much about them, so I don't use them. Check the actual accommodation, go into it, make sure there's enough room, all the obvious things. Is there proper ventilation? Is there shade? If they've advertised, if you're leaving them in the cold weather and they've advertised that they have heating, ask them to ensure that they will definitely use the heating and at what times. Took my sunglasses off there, but it's getting bright again. Yes, if the dogs are socialised, ask how they will be introduced or interact with other dogs. If you don't want them to interact with other dogs, as I don't, because Buster's a nightmare, you fucking get into a fight, you need to know that. You need them to know that, obviously. And can they facilitate that? Ask about security, supervision. How are the dogs monitored? How often are they walked? What happens in an emergency? And I know these things can all sound, well, that all sounds a bit over the top. You're not going to do this every time you go to a kennel. But when you're doing your recce, whenever you're trying to find a new kennel, a kennel you haven't used before, it's important you go first and do these things. I have heard horror stories. Not a lot, but I have heard horror stories, you know. I had 2 bad experiences in kennels when I was younger. I'm not going to go into that, but it happens. Have a wee look at the other dogs. Do they look happy? I know you're going to get nervous dogs no matter what, but you can generally tell if you look into kennels of how the dogs are reacting, how happy they are. Next, number 2, and this might seem like a funny one. Prepare your dogs. Write down special requirements. If your dog has any quirks, like my Buster, let your kennel know. Yeah, my dog Buster, he's just a nightmare. He's bit quite a few people over the years. It has been a long time now because I really know how to control it. But you have to tell them if your dog's like that. And you may get kennels that will say, no, we're not going to take them. But better discovering that then than the morning you show up. Always be honest with them. Check that particular kennel's vaccination requirements. Most kennels will require your dogs to be vaccinated against rabies, distemper, kennel cough. They'll expect them to have flea and tick treatment and worming. So make sure all the shots and everything are all up to date. I always worry that I go in the morning, I hand them a pet passport and there's something in it that isn't right. And by the way, while I'm on this subject, last week, my pet passports were both from Northern Ireland. Well, they were both English, and now they're faded out in Europe. So I had to get a European. So I had to get the 2 new passports, and I had to get rabies vaccine. I had to get all the vaccines, everything, and the treatments for the worms and stuff. And the last time I did that with my previous passport for the 2 dogs, I can't remember exactly how much it was. It was all around 400. But here in Spain, that cost me around 250 euro. So quite a lot of money, but I was well pleased with that. Another thing is food preferences. Some, if not all, kennels provide food, but I always bring my own, because a sudden change of diet, first of all, may not be enjoyable for the dogs, but also can cause stomach issues and other things. And make sure, if you are bringing your own food, that you bring enough and make it very clear to the kennel exactly how much they should get every day, so that it lasts, so that they don't run out. Another thing is the bedding and equipment. My dogs don't seem to be fussy about that. It's probably because I move about a lot and lived in vans and whatever, so I don't worry too much about that. I usually use what's provided. But some dogs do need that. They need the familiar smells and their own blanket, bowl, toys, if the kennel allows it. Some don't. I'm nearly sure I can remember being told, no, please don't bring anything, we do everything. But I would imagine anyone who does that would have everything very, very clean, very well sterilised. Next thing is, if you have more than one dog, do you want a shared or single kennel? Since Molly and Buster get along well, which I don't get to say very often about Buster, because he gets along with very, very few other forms of life, I always put them in together. which I think is very important for my two. And of course, if your dog takes any special medication or anything, make sure that you fully inform the kennel of exactly what to give them, and again, make sure that there's enough to cover them for the whole period that you're away, right? Moving on, number 3, what to expect while your dog is boarding. One of the biggest worries that dog owners have is, will my dog miss me? Will he be sad? Will he be or she be unhappy? Or my cat? And this is my take on that. Dogs don't think like humans. They definitely don't sit there and wonder when we're coming back or get depressed about us leaving. Well, most dogs anyway, because dogs live in the moment. They're not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow. They just live in the moment, which is what whenever you're doing meditation, that's what you're trying to learn how to do to make you happier. So dogs, if they're treated well, are pretty happy, pretty content, and not thinking about things. Wonder how a dog does think. They've no language. So it may mess us up in some way, but they adjust very quickly. Now, in saying all that, personally, I think Molly and Buster do miss me. I'm sure every time a gate's open, they look to see, am I coming, or whatever. But at the same time, they just love the excitement of the new place, the new smells, all the other dogs barking, and the curiosity of everything being new or different. So if you choose a good kennel, your dog and cat will be fine. They'll settle in quickly, they'll get into your routine, and might even have a blast. I'm convinced when I come back, Buster's a wee bit disappointed. 4, picking your dog up, wagging tails, going crazy, jumping, licking. The best part of the whole experience is the reunion for them and us. If you have left your dog at kennels before, you will know the absolute joy when you come back. You're happy, they're happy, and like me, then you can go on future trips without any stress, any worry. So if you're feeling guilty about leaving your pet, don't, you shouldn't. They'll be fine, and so will you, or so you should be. 5, my final thoughts. Leaving your dogs or cats at a kennel doesn't have to be stressful. So here's a wee quick recap of everything I've said, a bullet list. Research the kennels and visit in person. Read Google reviews, ignore other type of reviews or review sites. Check the vaccine requirements and make sure you've got them done. Communicate special needs like medication or behavioural issues. Decide about what you're going to do with food and personal items. If something feels wrong, don't book it. And finally, definitely don't feel guilty. If you've done your due diligence, your dog will be safe, happy and well cared for. Alright, now we're almost there. The video's not finished, we're almost there. But don't forget to leave comments if you have anything to say. Have you ever left your dog at a kennel? Have you ever had problems? Is there any advice you can give people? Is there anything I've missed? Have you any thoughts at all or suggestions in the comments below? Alright, so now I'm going to take you, when I get to the kennel, I'm going to go in and just for a bit of entertainment, film the dogs being left off and stuff like that. Alright, so for now, onward and upward. This is a lovely spot, lovely and quiet, and lovely place. I just left the dogs in the car for a minute. Right, so we're here. Big moment. Molly and Buster. 2 weeks holiday begins today. You know, Molly's always sceptical. Buster doesn't care. But you can see it in Molly. You can see it in her face. I haven't seen it yet. She hasn't realised we're here yet, I don't think. Now, I've asked the girl, can I film, do a bit of filming, and she said yes, but I'm not going to stick the camera in her face or the staff's faces too much, but hopefully I'll capture enough to make it entertaining. Right, stay. First thing I have to do is get their leads on. Stop biting. I know, love, I know. Right, Molly here, come here. Come on. Oh, doing a pee. You're on camera. Buster did a poo. They're hard work, especially Buster. Imagine doing a poo now. I had him out this morning about 10 times. Right, here we go. What a beautiful day. No, I think Molly's just she's just realised where she is. Right, in we'll go. Now Molly's doing a poo. I think they plan these things. Right, I'll lift it in a minute. Good morning, I'm just leaving my dogs in.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Okay, no problem. They're coming up.
Molly, you're awful daft.
What, is it Stephen Waterson?
Yes, I'm called Steve, but it's Stephen Waterson. Usually when I'm walking down with the dogs, they're pulling the arms out of me, so this is this is much easier. I hear Buster. Oh, this is lovely. It's very, very fresh and clean, and yeah. Look at that lovely big area they have there. Molly, Buster. Come on, there's a girl. Oh, I know. Very good. And Buster, as I told you, he's away. He's happy as Lara. That's good. Okay, thank you, gracias. Right. Bye-bye. Yeah, Buster's trying to jump up now. He's doing the same thing, but you can't see him. Bye-bye. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Isn't that funny? I'm going to be looking at a lot of those over the next 2 weeks. So that's it. Molly and Buster officially in their wee hotel for their holiday. And as you can see, Buster was already exploring. And of course, this is the part where people feel a little bit guilty or bad about leaving them. But honestly, once you leave, well, my dogs anyway, they just get on with it. I can still hear Buster barking. And I heard them calling for Molly there. She must have run away. She does that a lot. But she always comes back and you tell her. Will they be counting the days that I come back? Nope, they will not. But as I said earlier, I imagine Molly, at least, every time she hears a gate open, she'll be looking to see if I'm coming. Aww. And after seeing how the staff are with them, I just feel so happy about it. Really good choice. You know the truth? They'll probably have more fun than I will. No, they won't. No, they won't. Asia, here we come. No, they won't. But I bet you'd enjoy themselves. So, for everything I've said in this video, if you have any experience at kennels and problems or great things or tips or tricks or things that you think I missed, leave them in the comments. That would be fantastic. But the next time you see me, I'm going to be in Hong Kong. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I go in the middle of the night, leave the house or the apartment at 2 a.m. and drive for 4 hours. And for me, that's all part of the holiday. I'm really looking forward to it. But, geez, I hate the long haul flights. Oh, I'm going to try, when I get on the plane, to put my watch in my bag and forget about it. I've always thought I might try that and see what happens. I suspect that it's going to make me think about the time more, but we'll see. I'll let you know how that works out. Alright, so I'm going to leave the video off there. I hope you enjoy it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Love you to subscribe. As I said, love to hear your comments. Sharing the video to anyone that you know who may be interested in it. But until next time, bye for now. Here we go, Asia. Here I come. Get the music on.